Your natural testosterone starts dropping at like 35 years old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm feeling that right now.
Well, yeah.
I can still fuck, but in terms of like muscle size, yeah, it definitely ain't easy. Like,
you're not on an HRT or anything?
Nah. You think I should be?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're fucking, you know, if you're fucking a lot, all this shit, and you're working out. I don't know.
That's what has me scared. Is like, fuck, I can perform this many times consistently. What if I get on testosterone and then when I get off it, I can't perform the same? Like,
you never get off. So the decision is basically at your age, at my age, you get your levels checked and you determine like, okay, I'm below where I, you know, first of all, you establish a baseline, right? Like let's say right now you're 800. That's fucking awesome. If I was 800 and I was natural, I would just stay there, right? But like, let's say you're, you know, 800 now, but then 2 years later you get tested and you're 600, you know, and then maybe you're 500. And it's like, okay, like we see where the graph is going. We know we're going to need to get on. So like, would we rather have like 1 extra year of like better performance and this and that? That's the decision I think a guy at your age makes is like, do we get on and stay on? I don't think you're not going to cycle.
So you never really get off once you start doing it a bit later in life? And you do a very moderate amount, but you just stay consistent with it? Yeah,
so there's two decisions. Like if you're like in your 20s or 30s, then it's like a decision like, okay, like are we going to get on a cycle because we want to fucking like bulk up? We want to like, you know, do better in sports or like whatever your motivation is. Then you have a decision to make. It's like, okay, is it worth it to yo-yo our hormones, potentially like fuck up our natural production going forward? Or are we just like so into fucking being in good shape that we just want to get on and stay on? Like there's different decisions, but I think later in life, like as you get around 40, the decision is like, okay, are we just like naturally dropping off? Are we happy with where we're at? And then it's like, you just get on and then you stay there.
And there's no like negative long-term health effects of that?
I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years, you know, there is some negatives. And I mean, and you also have to like, now you're like, I look at it like you're racing a Ferrari, right? Like when you're racing a Ferrari and it's tuned right and everything's going good, that motherfucker's bad as shit. And it's driving around the fucking track and nothing can touch it. But, you know, if something's fucking off, you know, it can get fucked up and it can be expensive. It can be a bad fucking thing. You know, you drive a Honda Civic, it's probably not going to have any fucking problems, but it's also not going to fucking, you know, turn any heads either. You know what I mean? Like a Honda Civic's going to probably run 200,000 miles without any fucking major issues. A fucking Ferrari on the racetrack's not going to run 200,000 miles. You know what I mean? But like when it's running, it's running. So it's like, I kind of compare it to that because you've got your testosterone, then you got to regulate your estrogen, and then you know, if assuming you're running like very low doses and you're doing it as HRT, there's not really like a lot of science. But if you're juicing and you're doing that, now you're like fucking with a lot of shit because now it's like, okay, now we're breaking out, so we're taking fucking Accutane. Now we have high, you know, estrogen, so we're taking Armadex. Now, you know what I mean? Shit like that. Your liver's fucked up, so you're doing this. And it's like a lot of these guys end up just like on these massive drug cocktails because it's not natural to have your body running at that level.
I did like a 3-4 month cycle when I was 21, and this shit turned me into a fucking monster for the duration of it. Like I fucking fought a crackhead on the street because he said something to me, and I was just fucking feeling so crazy. So it's kind of hard for me to even imagine doing it now and doing like a moderate amount, you know?
Well, your first cycle, number one, is always going to be your craziest thing because A, you have this natural testosterone. You've never introduced this to your body and you're adding, you know, the anabolic. So I don't know what it is about the first cycle, but everybody says that's like a, you know, it's like, you know, I don't know. It's hard to get that high again, you know, right? So like, I wouldn't expect that, but it's also going to be different, right, too? Because if you were cycling, you're probably doing a lot of gear.
I can't really remember. I remember thinking it was going to be a moderate amount and then actually doing it and feeling like the Hulk.
Yeah, so, you know, but if you're doing a cycle, it's probably like super physiological doses. Whereas like with HRT, you're kind of like, the goal is to bring yourself back to like a little bit higher than you were at 18. Right. You know, where you're getting fucking random boners in class and shit, and, you know, you can fucking recover and, you know, whatever. So like, it's just kind of a different thing. It's like the goal is to like get to a level that's like maintainable, sustainable, that's not gonna like fuck with your body. Because you can't just like run super high doses all the time. Like these bodybuilders do not expect that problem.
Hey, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe. We just hit 200K. We're trying to get to 300K.
Turn us up.
Appreciate y'all.
Let's go.